Like many other success stories in real estate, mine started from really humble beginnings. I was born and raised in White Bear Lake in the late 1970s. The house I grew up in was built in the late 1800s. For most of my childhood, we heated the house with firewood, and it only heated the first floor of a 1.5-story home. So my room had no heat in the winter, no air conditioning in the summer, so you can imagine what that was like. My father was a forklift operator. He worked for one company for 30 years, and he hated every minute of it. I think he just liked the stability of his job, and he didn't want to leave that. But I respected that he did it every single day. That was my first lesson in work ethic. He took care of his responsibilities without complaining. When I was growing up, I struggled to do the same. I started my first job when I was 14 years old. I was hired by a local car wash in White Bear Lake. I will never forget that first day of work. I was ready to quit by 10 a.m. and after being on my feet all day, I wondered if I'd ever go back and work again. I absolutely hated it. I quit and I moved on, and then guess what? I hated the next job, and then the next job, and then the next job. I formed a pattern that I could barely make it a year until I quit a job and moved on. I really just didn't like working. The respect I had for my father for working a job he hated for 30 years was significantly reinforced at this point because I don't think I could have done that. At the end of 1998, I realized I needed a drastic change. Up until this point, I worked a lot of blue-collar jobs and a lot of manual labor. I decided that I wanted to try something different, something more professional, like an office job. So I looked in the Sunday paper. There was an ad placed by a local real estate company that happened to be 1 block away from my house. So I stopped in without an appointment. I sat down with the office manager and asked what position they were hiring for. He told me they were hiring real estate agents. I don't know how to sell, so I didn't think it was going to be a fit. He then proceeded to show me the MLS, pulled up one of their listings that was listed for about $1 million, and then he showed me how commissions work and what that agent was about to make closing that transaction. I was like, so this agent's gonna make $30,000 for selling one house. Well, how many houses does this guy sell a year? There's quite a few. A month later from then, I was licensed. It took me less than 72 hours from the time I was licensed to find my first client. That year, I closed 9 transactions. It was my first year. By my 3rd year, I was making good 6-figure income. And I've done that every single year except for 2007, 8, 9, and 10. My business got decimated by the crash of '08. And I was in my mid-20s. I was too inexperienced to understand the cycles that a market goes through. I was very one-dimensional. I really only worked with first-time home buyers and move-up sellers. I didn't have investor clients, I didn't have distressed clients, I didn't have commercial clients, and most of all, I did not have solid lead generation systems in place. I did all of my business from my network. It was mostly referral and repeat business. But my area expertise was too narrow and my network dried up due to the crashing economy. It took me 18 months to adjust to that shifting market. But the lessons I learned have served me well ever since. In fact, these lessons have guided much of our core philosophies that we teach our agents here at RG. Since the crash and after diversifying, I had my best years ever up to that point, closing 50, 60, even 75 transactions. Now keep in mind, pre-crash, I was closing 28 to 40 transactions. So at one point after the crash, I was ranked number 33 out of 18,000 agents here in the state of Minnesota for units sold in a year. I have always been a relational agent, and I've always done really well with my sphere of influence, but I added some additional systems in my business. I got very good at lead generation from distressed listings and attracting flipped investors. My best year, I closed nearly 40 transactions from signed calls alone. We started a lead gen team here at RG, and I still run that team today. We have closed more than 1,000 transactions with that team. Lead generation and conversion is one of my skill sets. Building productive teams is another skill set of mine. At my core, I deeply care about the industry. It has given so much to me, and I love giving back to the industry anytime I can. I would love to see everyone fulfill their dreams. I am proud to say that RG has been my life's work, and it has grown tremendously since we started it. People often wonder what I do at RG, and I'll tell you, I have many roles. I have roles within the company that are agent-facing, and I have ones that are not. As owner and president of RG, I'm involved in almost everything. I oversee operations, I run the agent education. This includes advanced education for high-producing agents, as well as brand new agents that are just starting out in mentorship. I coach and mentor individual agents and teams. I help oversee risk management in the broker services department. I help oversee and write policy and procedures for every department. And with all I do, I have a very hands-on approach. I love building businesses. I love coaching and mentoring. I love empowering people. I've come a long way in my time, and I credit that fact from surrounding myself with people that inspire me, people I can learn from, and viewing myself as a perpetual student. My hope is, for you as an RG agent, you will adopt the same philosophy, to constantly be curious, to never settle, constantly grow, and always surround yourself with people that empower you, and people you can learn from. I am Mike Bernier, and I welcome you to the RG Nation.